This is going to be basically a sort of free version of the masterclasses we typically do on patreon.com/the Copy That Show, where I'm actually going to run through and sort of talk you through a little bit of the logic, some of the things that you need to think about when it comes to practicing copywriting. And by practicing copywriting, I mean also straddling the gap between that and also preparing, portfolio samples, because, you can practice copywriting and then also show off what you practice to help you get jobs. So, all this is beneficial. All of this is designed to help you. What are we going to do today? Well, this particular free mini masterclass is going to have two parts. I'll talk about what we're going to cover in part one in just a moment, but part two later on, if you want to leave and only come back for that, I'm actually going to be writing a piece of practice copy. I don't know what I'm going to write. I don't know what the topic's going to be. I don't know what the product is going to be. Literally, I have this blank page ready to go right here. I have no idea what it's going to be about. I'm actually going to put it to a vote in the chat, and I'm just going to roll with whatever the chat decides, and I'm going to show you how I would approach a practice piece for that, whatever y'all decide. Now, that is going to be, of course, a little bit further along in the journey than where most people are. And that is why part one of this particular mini masterclass is going to be focusing on the general considerations and things that you need to be thinking about and keeping in your head when you write practice and spec pieces, because you need to make sure that when you're doing this stuff, you learn the most from doing this. And I want to emphasize that little bit. If you are practicing copy and you're not learning from it, you're practicing wrong, period. The whole point of writing a spec piece, of writing a practice piece, is to get better. And if you are not getting better from practicing, you are either one, unaware and unable to self-assess properly. Two, you're not getting good feedback. Or three, you're just not practicing very well. And so that is something that I want you guys to keep in mind as we go about this. That's the whole point. And if you want to just skip the next 3 hours, you can walk away from this live stream with that particular thing. The whole point of a practice piece is to learn stuff. And if you ain't learning stuff, try something else. Done. You've officially completed this mini masterclass. You've graduated. Congratulations. A certificate is in the mail. Now, before we get into other stuff, I should probably do the whole yada yada, why I'm the best person to teach you this, credibility reel, testimonials, treat this YouTube thing like copy so that the channel grows and you give me more money and I can give the money to my custom Lamborghini maker and he can create basically a Lamborghini that can actually Decepticon transform into a Ferrari whenever I feel like slumming it. But I'm not. I'm not the best person to teach you this. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm 9 years out from any point where I had to practice to get a job. Now, whenever I want a job, I just open my mouth, tilt it towards the sky, and a job falls into my mouth. That's how easy it is for me. That's the advantage of getting good at this stuff. So what I want to emphasize to you is that there are a lot of different ways to practice. I'm not going to sit here and be like, my way is the best way. No. There is no right way to practice. There is no best way to practice. There is only a best way for you. So there's also no best person to learn from. If I were, again, trying to sell you on Copy That and our services or whatever, I would say oh yeah, I'm the best person. Nobody delivers more value than me or whatever. No, it's just not true. If you want to get better, try to absorb as much information as you can from as many sources as you can so that you do actually progress, so that you do actually get a voluminous variety of information that you can deploy and synthesize as you grow. So everything that you're going to see today is this stuff, but from my slant. And I want you to go in knowing that. And some of the stuff that I talk about may not be right for you. And that's okay. So you will figure out and you'll find out your own journey. So that's the first thing to consider. It's a garden of forking paths. The second consideration I want you to keep in mind is that In order for you to find out the right way to practice and to learn from what you're practicing, it takes time. It takes time to figure out what's optimal for you. And it takes time to learn how to develop the internal architecture in your brain to assess your own skill level. You actually need to be I don't know, kind of good at stuff to be able to look at what you do and determine whether it's kind of good or not. That's a whole Dunning-Kruger thing. The things that you use to assess competence are the same as competence themselves. And here's the thing that I've learned from personal experience and from teaching a lot of newbies of various ages. The younger and less experienced you are, the harder this is going to be because, again, you're lacking the time. You have not put in the time. You just haven't been alive long enough. No amount of experience has been able to sort of transmogrify into wisdom for you yet. I'm sure many of you have had friends in the teenage or early 20s years who thinks that they're just really, really great at something like singing or playing guitar or doing backflips or karate or whatever. And they just kind of suck. You see it and you know that they suck, but it totally appears that they are completely unself-aware of their suck. Now, here's the thing. For most of you, in the first few years of your copywriting experience, that's going to be you. You are going to suck, and you're not going to have the mental tools to know whether or not you suck. So, what is a girl to do? Just kind of press on and keep practicing and trust the process. What is the whole point? Why write practice pieces? Why bother with this stuff? There's a simple answer to that. And it's a realization that whenever I drop this casually in Discord chat, it seems to awaken a concept of the cosmos in the people that I'm talking to. And by that, I mean, it seems to be something that should be obvious, but people have not considered before. So your job application, your emails, your outreach, your proposals on Upwork or whatever, they are all copy. For most of you, if you've been trying to get a job or failing, you probably have not thought about your outreach, your jobs, your proposals as copy, but they are. And you are the product that you are trying to sell. If you've ever put together a resume, your resume is copy. Bad copy, probably, but copy nonetheless, because it is trying to sell you. Now, here's the thing. Would you ever write a piece of copy that doesn't bother to demonstrate or prove that the product you're selling actually works? No. Nobody would ever fucking do that. But I see people doing it in outreach all of the time because they have not put two and two together and realized that what they are writing when they're trying to sell themselves is copy. And so what I've sort of discovered over the many years that I've been doing this is that your portfolio, the sample pieces that you stuff in there, that's the proof that you can deliver what you say you can deliver. In your copy, that is your cold emails, your job applications, your what have you, that's all stuff where you're promising things. Hey, you have problem? I can am fix problem. Hire me. The portfolio is the proof that you have the capability to do that. And if you start adopting that mindset, you're going to have a much better time getting jobs because you're actually approaching it the way that it is, like a sales situation. And so, what I've noticed from working with newbies and working with beginners and juniors and even intermediate copywriters, 90% of the problems that I see with other people's outreach, that is what they do to try to either get an in-house job or work with an agency or get hired as a freelancer or whatever, they're copy problems. They are problems with the actual copy. If you are not getting clients, I'm sorry to say, it's probably because your copy sucks. That is, if you're not getting a response, that's the same as you sending an email out to prospects and not getting a response or getting sales or whatever. It's a copy problem. The other 10% is product market fit problems. So for example, if you are an email writing specialist and you reach out to a business that doesn't market via email and they don't want to, they're not going to hire you to write emails. So, a little bit of research goes a long way, but the other 90%, that's all copy problems. That's all like understanding what a business needs, using the language that they would appreciate, and using the sort of level and register of speech that they would appreciate, knowing your audience, customer and prospect research. It's the same for getting a job as it is for selling somebody an umbrella. It's the exact same. You are just the product in this case. So this is something that I really want you to learn well and apply. And guess what? Your sample pieces, your portfolio pieces, that's going to be what helps you kick your copy, especially in your job getting copy, to the next level. Because this is the cycle. You get a job, you do good work for that job. If you do good work for that job, you get a testimonial or a referral, or you get hired by the same job again. And then the stuff that you did for that job, that goes into your portfolio. It becomes a virtuous cycle. And the stuff in your portfolio, well, guess what? You can now use that to get either another job or to get more money from the same job or what have you. And then the cycle repeats. And you keep getting more and more money that way. That's how this works, or at least this is how it should work. And if you are doing a good enough job at doing the good work and putting good work in your portfolio, you will make that coveted $10,000 a month, 6 figures a year, or whatever. It might take you 3 months, it might take you 10 years, but it will happen so long as this cycle is happening. But guess what? Most people that I have seen in the course of me doing this whole YouTube copywriting education thing, they are entirely focused on this from day one. How do I get a job? How do I get clients? Where do I look for clients? What do I search for? Where are all the clients at? These are the questions that people ask. They don't focus on what they should be focusing on that will allow them to get clients more easily. This, putting good work in your portfolio first and foremost. Most people, like, if you're doing a sample portfolio, for you, it's like checking a box. Oh, this person on the YouTube said that I need a sample portfolio, so I guess I'll just write up a few emails really quick and throw it in the portfolio, and then I'll start doing outreach. And that's how it goes for most people, and that's why most of you are not going to get any work. Man, truth hurts. I had to pull up my fine gold there. But here's the thing. What I have discovered is that people with a solid portfolio and solid results for the pieces in their portfolio have no trouble getting work. They have no trouble getting like 5-figure retainer gigs. None whatsoever. Why? Because the work in their portfolio actually proves that they're capable of doing good work for the client. The client is only going to hire you if they think you can make them money. If they look at your portfolio and it just has a few emails in there and they're like kind of bad and like they're full of like, they're not professionally like, organized, or they're not edited, or, they don't seem like that they would sell well for the business that you're prospecting, they're not going to hire you, like, ever, not even once, to try it out. And so here's the thing. Again, that is just a copy problem. You have to go back and actually try to improve the work in your portfolio if you are not getting a good job. And guess what? Once you start improving the work in your portfolio, your cold outreach, your job applications, your proposals that you send, those are going to improve too, because you're going to start thinking more and more about what works in this situation, what works in this context, what works for these people. And the more you practice and the more you put out, the more you can actually start to snipe and like contextually cater your portfolio to individual jobs that you're applying for. Like, for example, if somebody is trying to hire you for a sales letter, you don't want to show them a bunch of PPC ads and like squeeze pages. No, you want to have a few samples of sales letters that you can actually, like, these are the kinds of things that I can do. That way, the person hiring you for the thing can say, oh, he can do the thing. And then hiring is easy. There's no friction there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just to sort of like put a little cherry on this point, this is an excerpted segment of an interview that I did with Jason Bagley. Jason Bagley is the former executive creative director for possibly the biggest advertising agency in America. He's won 2 Emmys. If you are familiar with the Nike swoosh, Just Do It, that was this guy's mentor. So Let's see what he has to say about what he thinks about or what he's looking for when he's hiring people. You have been on the hiring side. What are you looking for in that resume, in that portfolio that makes you go, I am looking forward to talking to this person. I am interested in possibly hiring this person.
First of all, it's not a resume.
Oh,
I don't care about anybody's resume. Nobody looking to hire a creative at a good ad agency cares about a resume. They only care about your portfolio.
Your portfolio is everything. It's not your resume. Don't care if you're a high school dropout. Don't care if English is your second language. Don't care if you have a college degree. Don't care if you have like scabs all over your face. I don't care if you're really ugly. It's all about your portfolio. So keep that in mind. Your portfolio is everything. And if you aren't getting jobs, it might just be that. But sometimes the clients require samples from a particular niche. What do you do if you have that sample, but it's not from the requested niche? You write the sample as quickly and as well as you can. None of the things that I'm going to be talking about today are rocket science. Everybody sort of learned about copywriting as this sort of like, an easy way to make money working from home and like get money, like getting paid online and stuff like that. It requires work. You got to pay the cost to be the boss, my friends. So put in the work. If you ever find yourself in a situation where like, there's this thing that this person wants, what do I do? You do the thing that they want. That's almost always the answer. You do the thing. Oh, I have to read that book? Yes. Oh, I have to prepare a portfolio? Yes. Oh, I should like wireframe this to make this look more professional? Yes. The answer is almost always yes, because anything that you do above and beyond the norm, above and beyond like where you just kind of want to stop, that's what's going to be what gets you extraordinary results. If you want just like ordinary, run of the mill, average results, just keep doing what you're doing or what everybody else is doing. And guess what? The average results for most copywriters is nothing. That's what you get. The average result for most people trying to get into copywriting is never getting any work. So if you want to get work, you got to do a little bit more than that. If you want to know how to actually organize a portfolio or what your portfolio should look like, we have videos about this stuff. For the most part, I can anticipate that a lot of you are going to be like, well, how do I put together a portfolio? We have a video about that. Well, what niche should I pick? We have a video about that. Oh, what samples or like things should I write or what product should I choose? We have videos about that. Are there any practice exercises I should do? Yeah, we have a video about that. Oh, you're telling me we have a video. So if you want to know about portfolios, I'm going to link or point to some other ones. Go to youtube.com/copythat. If you have any doubt or any questions about like things that are probably likely that we've answered before, click on the videos tab, sort by popular, and then just watch, learn, take notes, and get good. That's it. I know several copywriters who have gone from just absorbing and consuming our free stuff and have been able to get work. You don't need to pay for a course, and I'm not going to ask you to. You don't need to pay for anything. Maybe a book or two. But that's it. So go consume free content. And don't just consume our free content. Like, there's a wide variety of stuff on YouTube, on the internet. Seriously, cast a wide net and learn from everything that you can so that you can bring it to bear on what you're trying to accomplish. I believe in you, but I only believe in you if you actually do the work. When it comes to that whole getting good thing, before I get into more stuff about like how to actually practice and things like that, I'm going to give you some practical advice for getting good. If you want very simple ways to actually get good and get better at copywriting, I would recommend following the daily practice. What is the daily practice? Every single day that you are trying to become a copywriter, I want you to study a piece of copy. Doesn't have to be in the niche that you want to go in or the type of copy you want to write. I suggest going farther afield because you start to notice things that they're doing over there that you're not doing over here. And then that gives you ideas. See step 3. Second thing is writing a page of copy per day. And the third thing is writing down one idea per day. Now, we, of course, have a video about how to study copy and what to look for. We also have a video where I interviewed Kyle Milligan, somebody who sort of went through the ringer with me and learned this very thing from Joe Schriefer. And we talked about like what it means to write down an idea per day. That video is on the channel. You can go watch it if you want to know what an idea is when I talk about an idea. Now, we don't really have a video though about the whole writing 1 page of copy per day, like what that looks like. That's what this video is and what it is going to be. So on that note, I want to also give you, because you're looking at this and you're like, oh man, that's going to take a lot of time. Yes, all this stuff takes time, dude. That was consideration number 2 from like 30 minutes ago. The second thing that I want to give you is some practical considerations for how to divide your time. Because one of the common questions that I get is like, how should I be spending my days as a copywriter? Like, what should I do? Like, when I sit down at the chair, like what should I just like look up porn? That's what most of you do. I want you to stop that. Practice retention a little bit. I'm not kidding. Follow the rule of 25, 50, 25. What is that? So this is from Robert Bly, the writer of the Copywriter's Handbook. 25% of your day, spend it on learning and upskilling. 50% of your day is towards the work, writing, and research. And 25% of your day is on outreach, prospecting, or research related to outreach. I threw that last part of the parallelism in there because like some people were like, oh, but I'm new. I'm not ready to start prospecting yet. Yes, you are. You can start looking up the businesses that you might want to look for. You can start building a spreadsheet of possible contacts you can reach out to. There's things that you can do every single day. So if you have 8 hours to practice copywriting, 2 of those hours, 25%, it's going to be on the first thing, learning and upskilling. 50%, 4 hours is going to be on the work. 2 hours is going to be on outreach. And I would recommend doing outreach last because that requires the least amount of your brain meat to be firing. Like, I'm sure many of you have had the experience where you write for like 30 minutes to 2 hours and you're just like, oh my God, I'm just drained. I'm brain dead, yada, yada, yada. Go have a Snickers bar, drink a pint of water, and then come back and focus on your outreach because that's stuff that you can do with your brain on like 25%. So maybe that's why it says 25%. Anyway, so here's a typical breakdown of what a 4-hour day would look like, if you were copywriting. So say you have a 9-to-5 job. You're working full time, which I applaud you. That's what you should be doing. Work full time as 9-to-5 and then do copy and learn how to write copy from 5 to 9. So, that could be 5 to 9 in the morning or 5 to 9 at night, whatever you want this side hustle time to be. So what do you do what do you spend your first hour on? You read books, watch YouTube videos, ask questions or solicit advice in Discords or forums, organize your notes, collect resources and templates and tools and things like that. That's the learning and upskilling. Now, after that, after you sort of get some fresh ideas into your head, I want you to start actually doing the work, the writing, and the research. That's 2 hours of practicing, collecting swipe files out there, studying and breaking down copy, templating, reverse outlining, writing copy, revising copy, editing copy. Those are all different. And then to cap off your day, I want you to spend some time on the outreach and prospecting part. Study businesses, do funnel hacking. That is to say, like, if you find a squeeze page or a place where you can put in your email address, put in your email address. Look and see what they send you. Click on the links that they send you. Find out what that business is doing to either get new customers or monetize those customers. Because guess what? Once you understand how that business is marketing and selling, well, now you know how your services could potentially fit in with that business. That's why you do this stuff. Another thing, you can also create research decks on the businesses you want to work for one day. Like, for example, say you want to write for, I don't know, Farmer Bill's beef jerky. Like, you can look and see their landing pages, their copy, their emails, their things like that. You might realize, oh, snap, they're not on Pinterest. Well, guess what? That's an opportunity for you. The world needs Pinterest copy. Maybe. I don't know. Then you can build a list of future contacts. I said that before. You can, work on your profile for Upwork or Fiverr. You can set up your own website. That's what you do in this 1 hour. Common mistake, possibly the most common mistake I see a lot of newbie and beginner copywriters make, is that they spend all of their time on this and none of their time on this. and they spend way too much time doing this. You're guilty of this. I know you are. All of you are asking, like, should I get an email address with like a custom URL? Should I set up a website? Should I get it perfect? Should I host my portfolio pieces on my website? I get these questions every single week. Every single week. And the answer is that is 25% of your priority. The other 75% is getting better. If you get better, this stuff gets easy. So here's the thing. Why do I recommend learning and upskilling at the beginning of the day? Because that's what works for me. And as I said at the beginning of this particular presentation, what works for me might not work for you. If you want to just wake up screaming naked and just immediately start typing copy, man, go for it. Just do it. I am not going to stop you. And if that works for you, it works for you. But for me, I like to have stuff in my brain. I like to consume stuff before I start regurgitating stuff. Otherwise, I'm just mentally dry heaving. Anyway, before we sort of move on, I want to quickly delineate and explain some terminology to help you. There's going to be talk of practice pieces, sample pieces, spec pieces. You're a newbie. I know different words for the same thing confuse you. So I want to quickly spell out what the difference is between them so that you are not confused. A practice piece is what you write to practice to get better. Sort of the same way a violin player, running a C scale, da 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 da. They're not about to play that at Carnegie Hall. They're not going to whip that out to impress people. And they probably shouldn't. You shouldn't either with your various practice pieces. So your practice piece is what you're doing to deliberately try to get better. A sample piece can be a practice piece that you have polished and refined to show what you're capable of. These are the things that would go in your portfolio to show to prospects and people that you would want to hire, or you want to hire you. So a sample piece is a sample of your work. It is literally an example. Your practice pieces, you can hide away forever. You can just be like, I don't know what I was doing there. I'm just going to stow that away. Not everything you write ever needs to see the light of day. And it certainly doesn't need a critique. I will talk about that in a moment. Now, doing something on spec. People talk about spec pieces all the time. What does that mean? So here's the definition of on spec. It means you're doing something in the hope of success, but without any specific plans or instructions. So, like, say, for example, there's a business that sells like GPS chipped like dog collars. All right. And you want to you see that, maybe their product page for this particular item in their store kind of sucks. Maybe the copy is just kind of terrible. So on spec, you would do it in the hope of success, but without any specific instructions. You would just rewrite a new product page for that business and then send it to them. You would send it to them on spec. And you would say, hey, I wrote this piece because I thought that the copy would be a little bit better than what you currently have. Totally fine if you want it, totally fine if not, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, it's an example of like you doing the work by actually doing the work. And I got to tell you, if you are the type of person who's watching this and going like, I'm going to be the best financial copywriter on the planet. I cannot wait to write a financial copy. This is typically how freelancers get hired in the financial copywriting space. They will write a lead, that is the first 1,000 to 2,000 words of a promo or sales letter or whatever, and they will send it to a publisher or to a copy chief on spec. Like, hey, I wrote this. Do you want me to finish it? Pay me. That's how this works. That's how that world works. So that's the difference between these three things. Here's another question that I commonly get. When do you need a critique? Now, this is a sort of unstated question because more often than not, somebody will have written their first piece of copy and then say, okay, where do I get this critiqued? Like they have this process and procedure in their mind because they don't understand the distinction between a practice piece and a sample piece. They think everything that they do for practice, of course, needs to go in their portfolio, but that is not the case. The purpose of practice is to practice. The purpose of a sample piece is to show off later. You don't need to critique a practice piece unless like you don't know how to make it better. So here's the thing. You need a critique You only need a critique when you by yourself cannot see or think of a single other thing that could possibly improve the copy, especially when it comes to achieving its intended purpose. What does that mean? Okay. I don't want you to show your first, second, or 10th piece to anyone. In fact, if you're totally new to copywriting, like if you've never written a piece of copy before, buckle up, Buttercup, because the first 50 pieces of anything that you write are going to be trash. Just totally awful. I don't care if you have 10 years of experience in journalism, it's going to be bad. And I know this. I was a professor of writing for 7 years. And when I first started learning copywriting, everything I wrote was terrible. I had to really relearn how to write, how to think about putting words on the page. Everybody has a steep learning curve for this stuff. And I use the first 50 pieces as an arbitrary large number to tell you to just let it go. Like, don't focus so much on trying to make the first thing that you write good. You certainly don't need a critique for it. But if you still want a critique for it, here's what you do. You put it away. Just throw it into a drawer, put it into a file folder, whatever. Don't look at it for 1 to 2 weeks. That is 14 days. If you are working on copywriting for 4 hours a day, that's 1 hour per day, 25% where you're learning and upskilling. So that's 14 hours between you writing that thing and you looking at that thing again. That's 14 hours where you've been learning new stuff, looking at new pieces of copy, doing more things. So when you go to reread it, here's what you need to experience. Well, if you think it's great and you can think of nothing else to critique, like nothing to improve it, well, then you need to reach out to your peers, on the Copywriting Discord, Copywriting Collective, or Copy That Channel, or the Patreon. We also, critique stuff, but I'm not going to press you to sign up for that. That's when you can use a critique, because here's the thing. It's only at that point where you can actually learn something. If you turn in dog shit and you know it's dog shit and you get a critique that tells you it's dog shit, what have you learned? You've learned nothing. And so don't get a critique yet. Make it as good as you can to the point where you know that anything anybody else says is going to help you stretch and progressively overload and get better. That's the point of getting a critique in the first place. And so if you see anything on that page after you put it away for 1 to 2 weeks, revise it, get it as good as you can, and then put it away for another 2 weeks. And repeat this process for as long as it takes for you to get to the point where you're like, oh man, this is actually pretty good. I think I'm ready for a critique. Now, here's the thing. This part of the process, remember back to consideration number 2 that I mentioned however long ago it was. I mentioned before that one of the biggest problems that a lot of newbies have is the fact that, hey, I don't know, what I don't know. I don't know how to self-assess. Guess what? If you write your first piece of copy, you put it away, and then you look at it and you see that it's great, but then you get a critique in it, they tell you that it's awful. Well, now you have a little bit more information that you can use to self-assess. Are you actually learning something? If everything that you write, you look at again and go, oh my God, this is great. You're not learning anything. You're not developing the ability to self-assess. That's the value of this process. Something that I want you to keep in mind. And again, going back to consideration number 1, I got them reversed. Going back to consideration number 2, the real number 2, not the fake number 2 I mentioned earlier, this stuff takes time. It just takes time. If you are desperate for money, oh my God, I need a client in the next 10 days or my family is going to starve, don't do copywriting. This is not for you. Stop it. Just stop. If you want to actually get better, if you're the type of person like me who actually before I even heard about copywriting would collect ads and study ads for fun, you're on your way. You're going to be fine. But if you are desperate for work, this is not going to be it, fam. Sorry. Truth hurts. All right. I've been talking around this issue quite a bit, which is that you need to, especially when you're starting out, give yourself permission to suck. And you need to start having fun and trying things. Now, here's the thing. Earlier in the chat and earlier on the Discord, I got a question. Basically the same question. I sat down on the blank page. I had no idea what to write. One of the problems that a lot of newbie copywriters have is that they're trying to do too many things all at once. They're trying to not only write a piece of copy that they can practice to get better, but they're also thinking about like, oh, it needs to be good so I can put it in my sample portfolio. Oh, like I need to like make sure it uses all the techniques and tools of persuasion that I've been learning from all these different videos and gurus on YouTube and books. And oh my God, this is all doing something called raising your affective filter. And when your affective filter is high, you are incapable of learning and you are incapable of producing anything that is worth reading. So, what is a girl to do? Hey, you have to give yourself permission to have fun. You have to be able to like let go a little bit and like find ways where you can make this process enjoyable for you. Most violin players who get good at violin don't hate the violin. You know, most novelists don't hate reading novels. That's just how this works. I enjoy reading ads. That's something I legitimately enjoy doing. I'm like happy when I can spend more time during my days actually studying this stuff. If you're not that person yet, you can become that person. If you're not that person yet, you gotta find some little toehold where you can actually find enjoyment in this. I'm going to give you a very specific example from my life of like how I actually was able to learn something by having fun with it. Here's a very specific example of when I needed to learn something. I needed to practice something. I didn't know what to do, so I just started having fun with it. I had never written a Facebook ad before, not once. And so I sat down and I was like, well, this is a skill that I need and I want to learn it. So I sat down and I just let myself be ridiculous. Look at the copy here. Sup, blood? This magic hand gesture holds the key to raking in money from this new banking tech. Click to read more. And then headline, must read for real hustlers. I just let myself be goofy. Here's the thing. By allowing myself to just let go, I was able to produce a practice piece. This was my first Facebook ad that I ever wrote. I read it, I reread it, I polished it, I revised it a little bit, and I was like, I'm never going to publish it, but it's fun. It's fun to look at. By the way, all these ad mockups I produce at https://admockups.com. Whenever you see a tool or you're like, hey, how did you make this thing? Just, Google it. Don't worry about it so much. All right. So that was where I started. But I was like, okay, now I want to practice a little bit more. So I did this. I decided, I want to get a little weird with it. So for Absurd Wealth today, we got handpicked personalized investment advice that actually makes sense and dollars. Little pun there. Investing should make sense, says the horse butt to the man horse. And then the headline, forget mutual funds, go nuts in the options market, which is make it. Go nuts in the options make it. Again, I'm just allowing myself to play. I'm having fun, like doing whatever I feel like doing at the moment, sort of based around the topic that I know I'm going to be writing about. And I was like, okay, I got weird with it. I had fun with it. Let's try to do something sincere. I got a little bit better, tried to refine, actually made an effort, and then I still went goofy. And what I did was I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to write this like a value-based email, but I'm going to use as many emojis as possible, like just for funsies. So I wrote, I can't believe the size of those gains, rocket ship, diamond hands, said no one ever. A good little disruption there, by the way. That's when I say like write down an idea per day, like, oh, have a claim and then have the next paragraph completely undercut that claim. That's an idea. That's now something that is in your brain that you can use in emails and ads. It's just a rhetorical technique, a framework that you can use. You're welcome. Newsflash, sparkle emojis, a 200% gain in the stock market isn't going to help you build wealth, and it's definitely not going to get you closer to your money goals. If you're always swinging, For the fences, according to a 27-year-long study, you'll strike out and end up broke 96% of the time. Down chart. Pay attention with colons all around, because investing is only one part of a safe, certain financial strategy. Here are the real facts, and then fax machine, about wealth you need to know. Fact. The wealthy know how to balance their saving, $ spending, and investing. Upchart. Fact. The two biggest wealth destroyers are homes and credit card emoji debt. Fact. The single greatest wealth builder is a variety of income streams, including stocks, including options, including rental real estate, including a side business, including passive income. Fact. It is possible to go from broke to rich because we've done it, studied how others have done it, and are ready to whip out our knowledge and show it to you. A little, again, I'm having fun here, whipping it out and showing to you. Want more facts about wealth? See more by clicking the button below. And then that whip out our knowledge to show it to you is a sort of sly reference to this image, which I believe Sean Ferris calls like an attention grabber. Like he has like a whole thing, if you want to look up Sean Ferris, around like social media and having like a really bizarre image that just captures attention. I think he calls them scroll stoppers. Scroll stoppers are the images you want to look for. And then we have the article Facts and Lies About Wealth, of which the above copy really is just a summary of. This is where I was actually like, okay, I've had fun sort of figuring out this Facebook thing. And by the way, as I'm writing these and making these, I'm also looking at like dozens of other Facebook ads and like getting inspiration for like what to do, how to do these, like what to model. Like I'm trying to like put as many ideas into my brain. And after doing that, doing these 3 like fun practice pieces, I finally arrived at something that I thought was pretty good. Let me read the copy to you. The worst money mistake I see parents make has to be with their kids' college fund. Now, here's the thing. That's a disruptive, like, again, what I've learned from writing Facebook like posts is that the logic for a good Facebook post that does well and scales well is actually like to write it kind of like an email. Use DIC, disrupt, intrigue, click. Like, and what am I doing in that disruption? The worst mistake I see parents make. I'm immediately calling out whom I'm talking to. I'm immediately pointing out a mistake that they're making when it comes to their children. And guess what? There's nothing that parents are more self-conscious about than messing up their kids. A lot of guilt when it comes to parenting. They dump all this money into high-fee, low-return plans with no guarantee it will be there by the time their kid is studying for the SATs. Even worse, if there's an emergency or a crash, that money can't be touched without penalties. To avoid this for my own kids, and again, using proof and like making myself seem like the avatar, I developed a simple blueprint to brain emoji. Avoid complicated and expensive savings plans that trap my money. By the way, everything you're about to see are examples of bullets. We'll come back to bullets in a moment. And then another emoji. Set up a simple, flexible account that gives me access to the assets of my choosing. Upward chart emoji. Then move money into a handful of sleep well at night investments that can survive any market conditions. Again, fascinations, all benefit driven. It took me about 30 minutes to set all of this up. The subtext there is that it is easy and it is quick. And turn my kids' college fund into a free automated machine I can feel safe and secure thinking about. Again, I'm living the dream that the prospect wants. Implied benefit and implied promise. Want to see exactly what I did? Check out my simple DIY college fund blueprint right here. Link. This 30-minute video blueprint gives you an over-the-shoulder look as I take you step by step through the setup of my own kids' college fund. And the companion article gives you everything you need to know to make an informed choice about the types of accounts and investments that will fit your kids' needs now and 18 years from now. And my scroll stopper is actually a picture of my daughter when she was an infant, her face when she sees the college fund you created. And then headline, build a better college fund today. I don't make up stats. Every time I whip out a stat, it's always from an actual study or scholarly article or something online that I found via Google. Like what I learned from writing in a very tightly regulated industry is to only ever speak in facts. I never, ever want to put out into the world a piece of copy where some fact or some claim is not corroborated. The whole point of me showing you all that, and the whole point of me talking about like having fun, the whole point of me like telling you to have permission to suck is because you need to weed the suck out of your brain. It takes work to get the bad copy out of your brain so that the good copy has room to grow. It is like a garden. You need to remove the crap so that the good stuff can flourish. And again, I'm going to reiterate for the third time, it takes time. It takes effort too. So allow yourself to suck in the beginning. Just give yourself permission to write the worst copy on the planet. It's a practice piece. You don't need to show anyone. You can literally right now write an email selling sporks. I give you permission. You have everything that you need to start writing copy right now. You can log off this presentation, this mini masterclass, and literally just start writing copy for anything. It could be a PPC ad. It could be just a headline. That's all you need to do for a spork. That's it. Just start. Get the suck out of your brain and then move on. Few other final things before we actually get to the practicing bit. Now, and these, again, we're just circling around questions that I commonly see and commonly get. What type of copy should you write as practice if you are truly, and I mean truly brand new, like you just discovered this copywriting thing, you just began like learning like what copywriting even is. You're still probably using the term copies, even though it's never copies, it's always copy. If you're truly new, bullets. Start with bullets. We have several shorts about bullets. We have like advice and like other videos about bullets. But if you want like actual good advice on like how to write bullets and how to revise bullets and how to think about bullets, we have a very long, like truncated, edited stream. Like I think it's an hour long, where I ran a bullet writing contest for subscribers to our patreon.com/the copy that show. And I paid people like, I think it was like $5 or $10 per bullet for a thing that we were writing. And I don't want you to like get caught up in that. I want you to get caught up in the fact that like bullets teach you a lot of things. One, they're everywhere in copy. A subhead is basically a bullet if you want to go there. Taglines are basically bullets. You saw the copy that I wrote for Facebook. Like most of those incorporated bullets somehow. Now, I and Alex reviewed a ton of bullets. Look for this video. If you're truly brand new, you can also consider hand copying, like actually take a legal pad or piece of paper and pull out an ad that you find and then hand copy, like hand write every single word for word in that piece of copy. But a lot of people don't actually learn from that. And it's kind of more of a rite of passage. And I'm only going to recommend that to you if you're like the most hardcore of hardcore. Most people are not going to benefit from it. So I leave that entirely up to you. Your mileage may vary. But if you want some advice on bullets, we got a video for you. And that's going to teach you. Bullets are also really good for newbies because it teaches you the register of copy. And what do I mean by that? Like when you speak as a salesman or as a persuader, you are not talking to people the same way that I'm talking to you or that you would talk to a bank teller. It's an entirely new, Kyle Milligan, the copywriter, would call it a new language. I would call it a different register of speech. And you need to learn this register. And every register has codes, has like certain tropes and things that you need to keep in mind. And bullets are a really good way to start internalizing that. And so if you want to yoke this back to the whole 4 hours a day, 2 hours you can spend just writing bullets about a product. It can literally be about, I don't know, this particular watch. Pretty nice watch. Never wear it. So you can literally just go into and start writing bullets. Like one of your bullets could be, amazing leather, lambskin, wrist strap, never chafes, never gets dirty. Period. There you go. That's your first bullet. I just wrote it for you. Now, and then do 100,000 more. And also, that was a bit personal. I imagine you're talking about the Facebook ad where I talked about the college fund for my kid and using that as a blueprint for what people can do for their kid. And guess what? One of the easiest ways for you to start practicing copy and getting better at practicing copy is for you to look inward. Look at your own desires, your own problems, the things that you solve, the things that you're doing, and write about that. Because guess what? Like, most of you have not like done a whole lot of work for other people. Most of you have probably never tried to sell an air conditioning unit. Most of you have probably never tried to sell a cold plunge. So, where do you look for inspiration? In here. Look in here. Look in your heart. Look at what you yearn for. Because guess what? Everything that you desire is probably something that other people desire too. Like, keep in mind, you're unique like everybody else. Nobody is special. And so, what you crave, what you desire, it's probably going to be out there, and it's probably going to be something you can write about. So, that's actually something that Chris Haddad, the copywriter, talks about a lot. Which is he was like, he didn't understand the premise of doing voice of character research, because he was like, listen, out there, I'm writing copy for a 45-year-old dissatisfied mom. If I want to know how to talk to that person, I just need to look in here and find the 40-year-old dissatisfied mom in me and find out what she needs and what she's thinking about, what she's worried about. A lot of empathy comes from understanding your own pain and your own struggles. If you can get in touch with that, you can write some really amazing copy. Keep that in mind. Now, your past bullets. You've spent a week writing bullets. You have thousands and thousands of bullets for stupid products that you see around your room. Okay, now what do? You're ready to start actually writing samples. You want to start, monetizing this whole copywriting thing. Well, what do you need? Well, we have a video about that. If you're ready to start practicing something more complex and you might want to put into a portfolio, maybe not what you write first, but down the line, this is what I want you to study and write. A squeeze page. That's a type of landing page where it tries to get one piece of information, a welcome email, 3 sales emails or lists, and a Facebook ad. Now, I have a whole video about this that I did with Alex. You should have one squeeze page. A squeeze page is a landing page or any sort of web page where somebody is going to try to drive traffic via Google PPC or Facebook ads, or even just a random link that they're posting or spamming in Discords or Facebook groups. And the goal of a squeeze page is to get a person to do one action, typically to put in an email address. Then the second piece should be a welcome email for whatever that squeeze page is. Now, we've gotten a lot of related questions related to what services or what businesses and niches should my spec pieces be for. It can be literally anything that you want. Invent a carpet cleaning company. Seriously, just do that. Literally anything. Find like a book off your shelf, and the squeeze page is, yo, sign up for this email list and I will send you a digital copy of this book. And that's what a squeeze page could look like. It literally doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. The whole point of this is just to illustrate and show, well, one, get practice, but two, to show that you are capable of making this thing and you understand what it is and the purpose that it serves, which is important for a copywriter and a marketer. Welcome email, that welcomes people that sign up for that squeeze page. Whatever it is you promised on that page, make sure you have some sort of welcome email. Why a welcome email? Because a welcome email is going to be different from a marketing email or a piece of content that you would send to a list. And the reason why it's different is because, well, think about what has to happen when a person signs up for a list. Not only do they have no interaction with your business whatsoever, your made up carpet cleaning business, they also need to be given something, like whatever you promised them on the squeeze page. You also need to instruct them how to whitelist your email address. And if you understand what I mean by what I just said, then you're already ahead of the game and you're probably going to do great in this business. And there's so many a combination of both engagement, sales copy, and actual functional operational stuff that goes on in a welcome email that everybody should learn. And then write 3 sales emails for literally any product. If your squeeze page is for a carpet cleaning company, the sales emails can be for a shampooing service. And one of them can be like, here's a coupon to get a cheaper shampoo for your rug. The next email can be like, do you have specialty rugs? Like, Persian tapestries or things like that? Well, we specialize in that too. And here's what we can do to make sure that your rug is taken care of. Do 3 of those. And then the final piece of the puzzle is I would recommend taking one of those sales emails and turning it into a Facebook page, or not Facebook page, sorry, a Facebook post. You can literally copy paste and then just change the words and change the content text to fit what would look good on a Facebook post. And that's it. That's your starter portfolio. It will take you all of a week to make your first draft of all of this stuff. Most of your time is going to be spent gathering and researching what all this stuff is, which you can find out, that's another beginner question, by just like Googling any business, anything, and then clicking the links that you find and signing up for email lists, every single one that you possibly can. Also making sure you turn off ad block, because otherwise you won't see ads, and so you won't get a chance to actually study the things that you're trying to learn to write. Everything I said, I think this was over a year ago, still holds true today. Here's the thing. I want you to learn how to write a squeeze page and a welcome email and 3 sales emails or lists or a Facebook ad for a few different reasons. One, it gives you access and forces you to practice different kinds of copy that's going out in different contexts to different people that are in different stages of awareness. Obviously, somebody who's getting a welcome email is going to be different than somebody who's just looking at a squeeze page that they've never seen before. A welcome email, they only get because they willingly signed up for something. So, and a Facebook ad is going to be different in terms of writing from a sales email or a lift that they get. Now, that's important because one of the most important things about becoming a copywriter is learning how to, some gurus will say, write for your audience, but I would say pay attention to context. Not just context of like where you're writing and where your writing goes, but also what your reader has possibly seen before. If you can actually like keep that in your head and articulate and craft your message to that level of awareness, you're going to make money, like big money, because most people can't do that. Like, are actually mentally incapable of doing that. Believe me. Now, another practical consideration here. I've looked on Upwork. I've looked on Craigslist. I've looked on Fiverr. These are the kinds of things that people are hiring for the most. A squeeze page is just a type of landing page. And in fact, I want to show you an example of one in just a moment that I wrote. A welcome email is just, again, something that you get from all these different businesses that you sign up for. I actually forgot to include an example of a welcome email that I wrote. And then, there's 3 sales emails or lifts. I have a whole video about that. Now, here's the thing. Once you practice these different genres, these different types of copy, then you can start thinking about like, I really don't enjoy writing emails. Like, I just don't want to do it. I want to write landing pages. Well, listen, you had to go through the suck to get the suck out of your brain. And now you can actually focus on what you want to do, what you want to get hired for. Do the practice first. Take a little taste of everything at the buffet and then narrow down. That's my advice to you when it comes to this stuff. But if you want just a simple starter portfolio, like something that you can literally put together a first draft quickly, something you can do, something you can study, like this is a good place to start. It's not where you should end up. It should certainly not be where you end up. Like if you're like 2 years in and this is like all you have in your portfolio, go back earlier in this presentation when I told you that your copy probably sucks. Now, here's an example of a squeeze page because I want you to make sure that you have a frame of reference for everything that I'm talking about here. A squeeze page is, somebody clicks on an ad, either a Facebook ad or a Google ad. They go to a web page and literally all they see is, a headline, some information, some bullets, teasers, some social proof, what people get when they sign up and put in their email. This is legitimately for a business that, a list building business that I actually owned at one point. So this was a real squeeze page that I wrote for one of my own businesses. And it did fairly well. We got a very low cost per lead on this. Here's an example of a squeeze page. This is what this looks like. If you want to practice writing a squeeze page, go look up 10 of them, get a general sense of like what they all look like or entail. You can even use this one if you want. And then write your own, craft your own. And like the formatting, I didn't do it in Canva. I literally did it in Microsoft Word. You don't need to do anything fancy. You don't need any special software. A lift email. Lift email as distinct from a sales email. A sales email actually persuades people. It actually tries to get people to buy the thing that's for sale. Now, here's the thing. If you are linking to a page that has a VSL or a sales letter, you don't want a sales email because the sales email will sap and remove a lot of the persuasive power of the sales letter, the sales page that you're linking to. So a lift email is designed to do the same thing, but tease and gently lift a person from their inbox into whatever it is you're trying to show them. So this is a real lift email that I wrote for a real promo that I really wrote. Sales, subject line, the $3 stock set to soar thanks to estimated 200x sales growth. And then I actually had like disrupt, I had some intrigue, I had to click. And if you want to see more examples, like literally, like I think 3 or 4 hours of me like talking about different kinds of emails, different types of emails, and writing them, and actually showing you like how these get sent out into the world, that's, go look for this video. Do you actually design the web page for the client or just provide the words or images? Typically, a copywriter only provides the words or images. Now, there are exceptions to this. And one of the things that you need to understand about businesses is that they want the most from you for the least amount of money. So there's a balance there, which is to say that, like, if you have a portfolio that's of equal quality to somebody else, but that somebody else is also able to like wireframe and whip up in Canva a design of what they want that piece of copy to look like, guess what? They are going to get the job because, again, going back an hour ago, your outreach, your proposals are copy. And if you can prove that you can do stuff better than other people, you get the job. That's how this works. If you can prove that your product is better than others or alternatives or can solve a problem, you get the sale. It's all the same. So keep that in mind. Here's the final question that I commonly see people ask. What product should you write about? We went over the types of copy you should write, but what should you actually like write about? Starting out, literally choose anything you want. In fact, one of my favorite bits from anything that Alex and I have ever done, like it was my second favorite comedic bit. I literally just like randomly came up with a bunch of ideas. And Alex was like, those all sounded random and I need the perfect one. Well, again, go back to earlier in this presentation when I said there is no best, there is no perfect, there is no right. So you need to do what works for you. And when you are practicing, you need to do whatever is going to allow you to practice the best that you can. If you're looking at a page, you're having like blank page syndrome, like you're not able to come up with any ideas, you just freeze up. It could be because you've selected the wrong product. It could be because you have no ideas about the product that you're trying to sell. It could be because you've not given yourself permission to have fun. Like, listen, if you really want to like write about, oh, I don't know, magic cards and things like that, you can. Write a promo, write a squeeze page, write a sales letter, write a sales email, write a VSL script for magic cards. Anything you want. Now, here's the thing. You can make up products too, like solve problems that have not been solved. Many copywriters have started businesses by doing that. They've actually just been like, hey, I noticed this problem and here's a potential solution. And guess what? They write the copy first and then they come up with the product. That happens all of the time. These can be products from random companies. It can be products you like and use. It can be products you make up. It doesn't matter. Whatever allows you to practice. Be pragmatic about this. Don't get in your head. Don't overthink. Just do something or pick something that allows you to get to the finish line, that allows you to get words on the page. Don't stress. Whatever you do, lower that effective filter and do what you can to get moving. Now, here's the thing. As you practice more, as you spend the weeks and the months doing this, as you become more skilled, you can start to get more specific. And what I want you to do is I want you to start blending your product research with your prospect research. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say during that whole, 25, 50, 25 thing, you start collecting a lot of businesses and you start noticing yourself like really gravitating towards businesses that make pet products or like lawyers or dentists, whatever. Now, once you start noticing that you're collecting like a lot of potential prospects that you can reach out to later, that are like dentists or have a dental office, well, now all of a sudden that tells you, well, maybe I should write some sample pieces that would be applicable for a dental business, that would be applicable for a lawyer or an accountant or a lawn mowing service, whatever. Once you start assembling your actual list of prospects and the businesses you want to write for at some point, if you're not already doing outreach, then start looking at like, okay, well, I notice that I'm reaching out to like 1,000 carpet cleaning businesses. Well, guess what? Now you can start practicing more specifically about copy that would be applicable and make sense for carpet cleaning services. There you go. That's how you decide what product to write for. First, you start random and then you calibrate. You get ready, you fire, and then you aim. That's what you need to do, especially if you want to get good at this. The only people who fail are the people who, one, don't spend a lot of time thinking about who they're prospecting. They're just scattershotting like emails to every single business person that they can possibly find, every single business that they can like scrounge up on LinkedIn, every single coach that they see on Instagram without like any strategy or like any deliberateness to it at all. Like those people are going to like totally fail at this business. The other people who fail at this business are the people that never go back to their list, like their samples or their portfolio. And they never think about like, how can I cater this more to the businesses I want to work with? If you avoid those two traps, you will succeed. I don't guarantee it, but you stand a better chance. For inspiration, if you want inspiration, you can always go to the Facebook ads library or the Google ads library. The links are on the page. Just use those. Also remember to browse without ad block on. That is a common newbie mistake. And like people are weirdly like they want to write ads and yet they don't want to see ads. And I'm like, man, if I were a short story writer, the first thing I would do is read a lot of short stories. Man, if I wanted to like write a sonata, I'd probably listen to a lot of sonatas. If you want to write copy, you got to read copy. And guess what? You're not going to be able to read copy if you are literally preventing yourself from reading copy. That's how this works. Turn off ad block, start absorbing copy. That's how you get better. What questions do you all have for me? I'm going to start writing an actual practice piece, but I want to know before I move on, like what questions you have for me. What if I have a lot of pieces of in my portfolio, but I don't have analytics, sales figures? I want to focus on direct response. Listen, it's fine. Like one thing that you can say in your copy, like your outreach, like, oh, the client loved these pieces so much that they hired me again. If no client has hired you again to write for them more, then honestly, your copy might suck. But one of the things that you can do as you start doing more work in this particular industry is with emails, landing pages, things like that, you can start requesting data. And you request data by just straightforwardly asking for data. Like, please, sir, may I have some data? That kind of stuff. Don't be shy about this stuff. Like the types of entrepreneurs and business owners that like are worth working for are going to be understanding of like what you need as well as what they need. What are your thoughts on Instagram outreach, specifically to online fitness coaches? I think that if you're a beginner and that's all you want to do, I think that you are painting yourself into a corner. That's like saying like, I want to work on cars, but I don't want to work on every car. I only want to work on Volkswagen Beetles made in 1968. Only want to work on those. And I'm going to make a shop. I'm only going to work on those. And if I see any other car, I'm going to turn them away. No, I don't want that customer. I'm not going to reach out to any other customers. I'm not going to advertise for anybody else. I only want to work on 1968 Volkswagen Beetles. So, a little too narrow for me for people that are just starting out. My opinion is don't niche down very, very early. Start wide, then go narrow. And typically what happens is your niche will choose you just because you excel at some things that you didn't even know that you could excel at. Now, second thing, I've mentioned this in another stream, but any type of outreach that is sold, especially by certain people who shall remain anonymous, YouTubers and gurus, if you see a guide or a YouTube video that's just like how to get clients on Instagram, how to get fitness clients on yada, 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 you could probably presume that they did that and then it got crowded and they're only making a video now about it because they aren't getting work from it anymore. The thing that you want to keep in mind as a copywriter and a marketer is that there are principles, strategies, and tactics. Getting clients via Instagram, it's not different from email. It's just a new channel. It's a tactic. And tactics are mutable. They change all the time. The rules and the trappings and the tropes that you need to like follow, they're ever evolving. And if you're not evolving with them, you're not going to succeed. And so once Instagram becomes a little saturated, which it might have been, time to look on for greener pastures. Do we need to do research when writing practice copy? I always do, but you don't need to do anything, especially if you're in that stage where you're practicing and just having fun with it. Man, write whatever you want, whatever comes to the top of your head. Can we offer clients more than just copywriting? Not only can you, but you should at a certain point in your career. And guess what? Yes, we have a video about that. Listen, we have a whole slew of videos about at what point you should start thinking about like dipping your toe into content marketing, dipping your toe into like marketing. Like when should you combine marketing and copywriting? That's how Alex is making like his millions. Like Lindsay and I, like, we're both constantly straddling copywriting, marketing, and strategy. I spend most of my time doing a combination of like copywriting and editorial writing. So that's how I make my money. So you can absolutely, at a certain point in your career, start offering more. Because guess what? If you see a need in a business for more, you want to be the person who can offer that. When working with tight deadlines, how do you know if your copy is good enough? I mean, what I'm writing in 4 days will almost always be worse than what I can do in 2 weeks. Listen, that's just one of the facts of life. I took 8 months to write a promo once. It was my best-selling promo ever. It took 3 days to write a promo once. Like, it was definitely worse. But also looking back on that promo that I wrote in 3 days, like, there was some amazing copy in there that I actually ended up repurposing for a project later on. And so, like, I'll give you another example. There was a famous, not a famous, but a very successful copywriter named Scott Bardelli. He hadn't written a promo in several months, like 4 or 5 months. And then he got an idea and like it just happened to line up with a particular deadline. And so he wrote an entire promo in just 2 weeks. And that promo went on to sell over $50 million. It was the control for years. So again, you have to sort of like, especially when you're under deadline, remove the sort of like burden of quality from your mind. Sometimes done beats perfect. In fact, I would say done beats perfect almost every single time. Now, if you're first starting and you're trying to get better, it makes sense to practice your reps with good technique, at least until like you can start getting a little sloppy. You know where you can be sloppy. But when you're first starting out, be more deliberate. When you are under deadline and you're actually getting paid for this stuff on a regular basis, then like what dials you can, twist to actually like get stuff out and get stuff done good enough. And that's what you want there, just good enough. Let's see. What if I don't know what kinds of businesses I want to write for yet? That hour. So like, that 25% where you're doing outreach, that's where you just explore. You just look around, like look at their copy, look at their funnels, see what you like, develop an idiosyncratic sense of what you want to do. That's how you figure out the businesses you want to write for. You explore, let serendipity be your guide. Figure stuff out like gradually by feel. Would the real estate niche be okay to start off with as being a beginner? How would I outreach to those in that line of business? Okay. Any niche is fine if you're a beginner. I, again, don't think people should go into this business with a niche in mind. Like, you have to have a good, like, for 95% of people, it's a bad idea. For the 5% of people where you're just like, I know the ins and outs of real estate. I think about real estate every single day. I wake up and I'm just like, man, I cannot wait to do a pro forma. Like, that's all I want to do. If you are that person, like that's all you think about, yes, real estate is the perfect niche for you. Oh man, like you're going to kill it. But if you're not that person, let it fucking go, man. Like, just chill. Like, explore a little bit, see what's out there. Now, how do you outreach to those in that line of business? It really depends on the kind of products that you want to write for. Are you selling, like, for example, like MBS or, certain SaaS software solutions to real estate agents? Well, then you would want to reach out to and find on LinkedIn or, in the contact, us pages of these businesses, their email address. You want to look up and see like who the competitors are, who are the players in that space, because that's all part of like, okay, here are the businesses, here are the people that work for these businesses, here are people that I can reach out to. Oh, they have job postings on Indeed. I can work in-house for like, a real estate software company. Cool. That's how you figure this stuff out. But it really does require like exploring and like sort of like figuring out and tinkering with stuff. I can't recommend a singular blueprint. I don't think that anybody is going to succeed. In fact, I don't know anybody who has succeeded by following like a strict blueprint of what to do. When should you outreach? Maybe it's a fear blocking me, but I don't want to feel like a scam artist when I know I'm new to copy. It's crap. Other gurus say start outreaching and learn from mistakes. Again, I revert back to ready, fire, aim. You might still be in the get ready point. Now, I mean, the question that I have for you is, do you have a good portfolio? Do you have a list of clients? Do you know whom you would reach out to? If not, well, maybe take some time to start doing that stuff, looking that stuff, researching that stuff, and then start getting prepared and then start firing out. The other thing that I would want to recommend is definitely start reaching out to people before you're ready. I'm sorry to keep doing this, but the video that I did with Alex, where I interviewed him, there's, go to videos page. It's the one where I talk about him hitting 7 figures officially. He was so nervous and had such imposter syndrome about switching from, I think, content to actual copy that he didn't reach out to people for like over a year, 2 years, if I recall correctly. And his big regret is that he didn't start sooner, because he could have, especially once he learned like, oh, even though I was new, I still could have done this. So that's something I want you to keep in mind, that it's always better to start before you feel ready, because you're never going to feel ready. There's always going to be more that you can do to prepare. And so don't let the fear of not being ready stop you from doing the things, actually applying to and like reaching out to people that will actually help you get ready. If I have 2 choices of career, email marketing for e-commerce brands, the strategist thing, or copywriting, what should I learn first? I'm confused in making a decision. There's many more questions, but I'm going to tell you a story. When I was 23, I was working at a pharmaceutical company called, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. I actually did sign an NDA. Sorry, it rhymes with Hamgen. And in 2008, everybody was losing their jobs, and so I lost mine. And I wasn't sure really what to do, and so I signed up with the actor Sean Penn. I volunteered throughout the American South. I rebuilt homes in New Orleans. I marched with AIDS activists in Tucson, Arizona. I cut down invasive species in Austin, Texas. I did a lot. I got back and I was crashing at my friend's house, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I had spoken to an army recruiter. This is, when Iraq and Afghanistan were active wars, and they wanted me to join OCS, get into officer training. And I was speaking to my on again, off again girlfriend at the time, and she was living up in San Francisco getting her law degree. Basically said like, what do you think about me? I have a college degree. I have a lot of experience. Like, what do you think about me, like joining the army? And she was like, no, just move to San Francisco. So I was really torn, and I got really drunk, and I decided, you know what? Ultimately, no matter what decision I make, I want to look back on it as being probably a pretty good decision. What got me here got me here. I'm probably not going to feel regret if I excel at one thing or another, if I do one thing or another. So I flipped a coin. I drunkenly flipped a coin. I had a quarter and I flipped it. The next morning, I was on a bus to San Francisco. If you really are completely torn between 2 things and you cannot decide, flip a coin. One of 2 things are going to happen. 1, the coin will land and you'll say, okay, that's what I'm doing. Or 2, the coin will get up in the air and you'll be like, oh shit, I really hope it's not that. Well, then you ignore the coin flip and then you just do the thing that you want to do. It's one of those things where it's like, it really doesn't matter what decision you make, so long as you make a decision. How do you synthesize and absorb so much information out there about copywriting? Is it just a matter of doing reps in time? Yeah, it's reps in time. I also have a very unusually good memory. What does control mean? A control is a piece of copy that has been used and reused again and again, and it performs better than anything else that is tested against it. Love your content, guys, and I learned so much from you. No offense, you guys don't look like millionaires. That's purposeful. That's not what we're trying to front. And like, there was a big study. The car most commonly owned by millionaires is a Toyota Camry. Or was it a Honda Accord? It was one of those types of cars. So like everything that you see on Instagram about like, oh, I'm a millionaire, I have this like Lambo and stuff like that. It's all fronting. And I don't want to front. If I have portfolio with pieces on subscription boxes, can I use that to showcase if a clothing company asks to see my portfolio? Or should I go back and write something on that niche? So, of course, again, this is a yes no question. The answer is going to be yes. Now, going back a few things, as you become more skilled or specific, start blending your product research with your prospect research. Actually, start making practice pieces and sample pieces that highlight what you can do for the company you want to work for. It's that simple. The one mistake that you're going to make that will cause you to fail is by never changing or improving your sample portfolio based on what you want to do. The people that will fail, like, they just aren't willing to grow. So be willing to grow and you'll be fine. How niche is too niche? I mean, go back to I'm only going to work on 1968 Volkswagen Beetle. Say I want to choose martial arts, equipment, courses, clubs, etc. Would this be too niche? It is not too niche. But again, like if you're just starting out, the odds of you landing the job of your dreams, the client of your dreams when you're just starting out is very close to zero. Again, the people that do succeed with that, like, are just monomaniacally driven. Like they have no other purpose. They only want to write copy for this thing and they will not accept anything else. They just live, sleep, eat, breathe it. And so if that's you, man, more power to you. You have a much better chance of succeeding than most people. But most people are not like that. Why do you think you were able to move up so quickly in 13 months at that company that you mentioned? What did you do? So I will tell you exactly what I did. So I started as a part-time proofreader because I had gotten a few copy jobs and content jobs through Craigslist. That was actually the first platform I ever got freelance work from when I quit teaching. And I got to work as a proofreader. I had a lot of downtime. And instead of like playing video games or scrolling my phone or looking up Reddit, I looked at what the business was doing. I looked at the various newsletters and the copy that they were putting out. And I was like, I think I can write that. And so I just started writing pieces on Spec. And I sent them to other managing editors that I knew because I worked at the same company. I was like, hey, I noticed that you do this. Would you be interested in publishing this? The answer was yes. So I got pulled out of the proofing pool within 2 months. That's how you do this. And then like I got promoted to managing editor within 6 months because like I stumbled across a really big opportunity that we didn't really have any resources for. And I started writing reports about it and doing like boots on the ground research. That's how I got promoted. Again, a lot of these questions about individual copywriting gurus, like, they're fine. All of them are fine. As long as they are not trying to exploit you, they're fine. And if they have stuff out there that you can learn from it. And if you stop learning from them, move on. That's it. Don't worry so much about it. How long do you usually take to research a new product or service? And how much time would you advise newbies to take on researching? So the time that when I'm on the job, if I have been hired as a freelancer to work on a promo, there's usually an 8-week turnaround. Every now and again, like, I'll take my time with something. Again, the best-selling promo that I ever wrote was 8 months, but most of that was research. I actually learned to code so that I could like do some machine learning to like figure out a trading algorithm, like what was responsible for certain gains. It was a very complicated process. I have written about that elsewhere. So like, don't do that if you're a newbie. I don't recommend that. But if you are just taking a normal job, it should be about 4 to 5 weeks of research, and then 1 to 2 weeks of writing, and then 1 week of like revision and compliance. That's typically how this goes. And that's for like a true campaign. That's like sales letter, emails, order form, upsells, downsells, like the whole campaign. If it's just like a single like value email, like 2 pages long, man, like, again, the amount that you research should be dependent on how much you're getting paid. If you are getting paid $10, the amount of research that you're doing is like, oh, I will Google 2 things. That's it. Nothing more. So that's my answer. How much would I advise newbies take? How much time you take for practice and portfolio pieces? As much time and research as you need to produce the best thing that you can. If you are producing, I'm going to use a term I used earlier. If you're producing dog shit, you might need to do more research. And because it's a practice piece, you have total permission to take as much time as you need to and do whatever you need to get it good. So keep that in mind. I have my first ever sales call scheduled in the first week of January. How can I ace it and close the deal? Okay, we have a whole video about selling your services as a copywriter. Now, the thing that I want you to keep in mind is that a lot of copywriters go into sales calls sort of blind. Like, they don't actually take the time to understand the business, how the business makes money. They arrive at the interview without any ideas. So don't do any of that stuff. One of the most common questions that I ask people if I'm hiring them is, what is a piece of copy that you've read recently that you thought was really good and why? And if they say something along the lines of like, oh, well, there was this, great YouTube ad selling Dr. Squatch's soap, I'm going to be like, all right, normie, next. But if they say something along the lines of like, oh, well, Stansberry Research like had this promotion that used the angle of like actually having one of their dissatisfied customers like be the person that was actually like selling the product, like the business actually won them over and that was part of the story of the sales letter, I'd be like, huh, interesting. This person knows the business that I'm in, the niche that I'm in. They're like plugged into like the heavy hitters of the industry, things like that. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that clearly and obviously are plugged in. And if you display that during the sales call, you're going to ace it. Do I use AI to help you with research now? No, not at all, actually. There was a time when I was like, when I'm writing something about like with pain points or with other things like that, I will like ask it for like a list of pain points or a list of distressing things or a list of bullets or like obvious benefits for something. And then what I will try to do is not actually use what's in ChatGPT. If I've done my research well, ChatGPT is not going to come up with anything that I haven't come up with. But I'm going to look at that list and like I'm going to refresh it a few times and ask it to produce more and refine more. And if it gets repetitive because again, it's all based on averages. Like, it's a prediction algorithm. Like, statistically, this text follows this text. So eventually you're going to exhaust what it is able to produce just statistically. So I go, okay, well, it came up with this list of 20 things. What can I come up with that's not on that list? What can I do that would make what I'm writing unique? And that's how I do. That's how I mostly use ChatGPT for research. Every now and again, I will ask it to like explain something. Like at one point, I was a little like iffy on understanding how carry trade works. So I asked it how carry trade works, and then it told me how carry trade works. There you go. That's how I use ChatGPT. How do you know for sure your copy can get a certain percent of conversion rate requested by a client? If your client requests a certain conversion rate, they are a bad client. Copy, my friends, is a game of any given Sunday. You never know if something's going to work or not. Even the best copywriters on the planet, their stuff only works 30 to 40% of the time. And by that I mean it's like, it's a true like hit. Not a breakout, not a breakthrough like blockbuster. But even the best copywriters have a majority losing percentage. It's either mediocre or gets shuffled under the rug or it just doesn't work. That's a fact. And that's something you need to keep in mind as you're like getting into this. Most of the stuff that you were writing, especially as a beginner, is not going to work. The way to succeed then is by taking more shots on deck, not by practicing your aim. Ooh, the arts and nonprofit organization niche profitable. I'm an artist myself, so I understand that area more. Yeah, that's absolutely a good place to get direct response. And in fact, like you'll get like the Metropolitan Symphony Orchestra. They send out direct response mailers. Like All sorts of arts agencies will send out like mailers asking for donations. Nonprofits will all like St. Jude's. It has some of the best direct response copy on the planet. They are masters of the direct mail, like of the direct mailer. So, what's the best way to get inbound clients? Man, like just hungry, thirsty. All right, best way to get inbound clients. Basically, you have to set yourself up as an agency. Get a really good web page, get a good presence where you're not selling advice to other copywriters, but rather you're selling advice to businesses about how they can grow their businesses. You want to sort of frame yourself more as a marketing guru rather than just like as a copywriter. And of course, you can make like ads and stuff like that, but like a lot of copywriters don't, succeed doing that. You have to like sort of present yourself as a business or agency. Do I have videos on doing research? Oh man, in the patreon.com/the copy that show, Alex literally has, I think, over 15 hours of videos of him just doing research. Also, our free 5-hour video, the whole course that is like the most popular video on our channel, like that goes very deeply into research and how to do it and how to do it well. Yeah, St. Jude's, like they sent me like a check and they were just like, whatever you write to us, we will match it. It was brilliant. Like you learn so many tactics and strategies from just looking at really good direct marketers. And St. Jude's is one of the best. I think I answered every question. That's amazing. Now, I am going to write a practice piece. Now, I'm going to put it up to a vote. What should I write about? Well, first off, what type of copy do you want me to see? Do you want to see me write? And what product or niche should I write about? People seem to be leaning towards surfing lessons. So let's sell some surfing lessons. Okay. The first thing that we want to do is find out how surfing instructors sell or their services or acquire them. So let's actually go to Google. Surfing lessons near me. Surfing lessons, Ocean City. Okay. Look at this. So again, a lot of you have probably at one point asked the question, "Hey, how do I select a product? How do I find out businesses to write for?" Look at what I just did. It took me 5 seconds to find a business near me that probably needs copy. Look, all of this is copy that's bad. Oh, sorry. All of this is copy that's bad that can be improved. So we got that, how it works, lessons. You can see the page now. Pricing. Okay. Lessons are 1.5 hours. People wanted surfing copy, so we're going to do surfing copy. I just give the people what they want. Register. Consider surfing lessons, December, late April. Okay. So, I mean, I can tell you right now that the way that they get customers is, this is basically a sign up to call funnel. Like you put in your information, they're going to like call you, or you can reserve some stuff with us. Reviews, why us? So here's the thing. Based on that, what do we know? We know that they don't collect emails, it seems, or at least they don't send emails very easily. Oh, wait, here, email subscription down here. So they do send emails. Let's sign up. What I'm doing is basically funnel hacking right now. I'm looking and seeing like what this business does. Do they have a welcome email? I'm looking at my email inbox right now and I'm waiting to see, they are not sending me a welcome email. That tells me that there's possibly a need for a welcome email. So guess what we're going to do, guys? We're going to write a welcome email. Okay, let's find out who these people are. Yeah, there's no welcome email. So let's actually find out. Let's actually write a welcome email for these people. Okay, Wave Riding School and a team of the best watermen in the region. Surfing instructors have a skill set that is very unique and specific to what we do. I'm doing research. I'm actually looking at the page and finding out what these people are all about. Okay. So it's a surfing school. So the actual content should probably not be super formal. Probably better if it's even more fun. Team has traveled the globe competing on a world level. All this is very like feature and benefit driven. There's not a whole lot of personality here that I'm seeing. So would this be an example of an opportunity to cold email them about writing a welcome email? I mean, yeah, I literally did just imply that. And that is absolutely an opportunity. Like I noticed that they are collecting emails, but they're not welcoming emails. They're not getting confirmations. They're not interacting with people who get onto the list in any way. So what I'm going to do is write a welcome email on Spec. Congratulations. I just showed you like all the research that you need to do to like not only like write things on Spec, but also to add things to your portfolio and also to see businesses that need help. What is the question I'm trying to find an answer for with this research? Okay, there are several things. One, I'm trying to find out who they are, what their values are, what they're selling, how they get customers. I'm trying to find out like any points of cred, things like that. All this stuff. I'm also trying to find out what their tone is, like what the voice of the company is. This surfing business is about to get flooded with pitches. Oh my God, it's terrible. I hope not. But God, yeah. Oh, Christ, I didn't even think about that. So let's actually go to the page and start jotting down some notes. Okay. They need a welcome email. And it's kind of obvious because you don't want someone who signs up to your list to go without some sort of point of contact. WaveWritingSchool.com. The world famous WaveWritingSchool.com. I would not do an alt subject line for this. Now, we're not going to do an alternative subject line because you can't really test a welcome email. Some automated sequences allow you to do that, but most don't. So there's not really a point in doing it. The only reason you would do it is if you want the prospect, like to choose. Now, oftentimes the best subject lines for a welcome email are just super basic because the people are already in a fairly informed state of mind. They know what they just signed up for. So I think it's something like ready to hit the, something like this. What is SSL? A secondary subject line. So let me show you. So this is my real email inbox. You'll notice that there's a from line and then a subject line that's in bold. And here, lighter, is the preview text right here. The secondary subject line is this preview text. We used to, if you're an old head like me, you call it white text because the way that you got preview text was you put a little bit of HTML copy at the top of an email, and then you HTML coded it to be white so that people couldn't see. So I almost feel like this would be, that's just going to be a placeholder subject line. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to get done. Again, this is a practice piece. We're here to have fun. So let's actually have some fun with it. Surf's up, dude. you gotta lean into the cliche. It is literally a surf instruction. Like, do you want to learn surfing from people that aren't going to act and talk like surfers? No. So let's actually enjoy the process of writing this. And I'm just going to write, and then I'm going to review and like with you guys and sort of talk through my thought process, and then like we'll do a little bit of revision, but like for the most part, it's just about like getting stuff onto the page and thinking like, okay, what would this business need to properly welcome people? And so we need a proper salutation. And I'm going to give you an outline that you can use and sort of like mix and match and like sort of assess next to other welcome emails that you see out there in the world. The salutation, this is your welcome. This is like, hey, this thing happened, you signed up. congratulate people, introduce business or guru, provide any necessary info a person needs to properly engage with the business. Subject line, welcome to the wave writing community. Secondary subject line, ready to hit the waves? Surf's up, dude. We just got word that you're interested in surf. Again, this is a practice piece. We're allowing ourselves to be playful and fun with this. You can always go back and fix stuff. Tubular surf lessons. Hey, it's the early 90s again. And then let's do the congratulate people later. And let's introduce the business or guru now. And so what do we got? We have bio. We have Brian, Colin, and Luke. Brian just about wiped out when got vacation. He's... Hey, let's actually copy paste some of this stuff in, and we'll see what we can use. And let's reduce the font size so that we can actually like manage this. Here, share this tab instead. All I did was just take these bullets from the bio page, and we're going to work some in. Brian just about wiped out when we got the notification. He's one of the top surfing instructors in the country. He can't wait to see you gliding across the waves on your board. Is it just me, or did the name scream surfer? Yeah. Absolutely. Also, just saw, who's the other dude? Colin. Let's get his bullets in here. Colin. Hands up. Excitement. He caught the highest hair ever, according to Bodyboard Magazine. He can teach you how to fly off the waves too if you call in and ask for him. Call into, and let's introduce the business there too. Call into the wave writing school and ask for lessons from him. Writing copy for this company. If sales didn't go up, could you explain the website could be the problem? They should update things on the site. So working as a copywriter, it's basically the same as like writing copy for any sort of client. You don't want to tell people that what they're doing is their fault. Like, you know, one of the reasons why Copy That is never going to be a particularly big or super profitable business is because I will get on stream, as I have for the last 2.5 hours, and say, listen, the reason why you're not getting any clients is because your copy fucking sucks. Like, nobody else is going to do that. Like, so that's how this works. If you come out and you write a welcome email, well, guess what? I'm not going to be selling in this welcome email. I'm going to have a CTA, but it's going to be like to place a call. So they're probably not going to track it unless you use like something like call slang or some other service like that. So impossible to know whether this is going to increase sales or not. But it's certainly going to be better than what they have right now, which is nothing. So even if they got one sale from this, it was probably worth it. All right. He can teach you how to fly off the waves too. If you just want a chill time out on the rolling waves of Ocean City. Luke's your man. He's been surfing since he was 5 years old. And if teach you stand up, ride. It's him. Okay. So you made a good choice. So congratulations. You made a good choice. High up with wave riding school. Now, as a thank you, can you add preview text if you don't have a special software? Can it be done in Gmail? I think that Gmail will only allow you to show the first line. We're so amped up. As a thank you, we love. And let's have a line break here just to emphasize this. Bold it. Colin today. Colin to Colin. Okay. For less than when you call in today. Pick up the phone and dial 443-203-WAVE. Pricing. All lessons are 1.5 hours and include a gift from our sponsors. When you call in and schedule your 1.5 hour. Notice, by the way, how I just copied something from their website and put it in here. You're allowed to do that. You're absolutely allowed to do that. That is a thing that you can do. You call in and schedule your 1.5 hour lesson and get your free gift. You also get a free gift. Give us a ring when you can. We'll catch you on the flip side. Oh, yeah. And then who are these people again? It's Brian, Colin, and Luke. Brian, Colin. Okay. Look at that. So within a matter of like 20 minutes, I just wrote a practice welcome email. It's not perfect. I wasn't even trying to make it perfect. But let's actually read it and kind of assess and see what's up. Subject line, welcome to the wave writing community. That feels very weak to me. So that's something that we can come back to and fix. Secondary subject line, ready to hit the waves? All right, not bad. Radical. Surf's up, dude. We just got word that you're interested in some totally tubular surf lessons. Brian just about wiped out when he got the notification. He's one of our top surfing instructors. He's one of the top surfing instructors in the country and finished in the top 10 of the Pro Tour for over 15 years. He can't wait to see you gliding across the waves on your board. I also just saw Colin throw his hands up in excitement. Did you know he caught the highest air ever, according to Bodyboard Magazine? He can teach you how to fly off the waves too if you call into the wave riding school and ask for lessons from him. But if you just want to chill time out on the rolling waves of Ocean City, Luke's your man. He's been surfing since he was 5 years old. If anyone can coach you to stand up and feel the wind in your hair as you ride the waves, it's him. So congratulations. You made a good choice signing up with Wave Riding School. We're so amped up that as a thank you, we'd love to offer you 10% off your first lesson when you call in today. Just pick up the phone and dial 443-203-WAVE. When you call in and schedule your 1.5-hour lesson, you also get a free gift. Give us a ring when you can. We'll catch you on the flip side. Brian, Colin, and Luke. P.S. What do we want as the P.S.? Typically, in a welcome email, the P.S., it's either an offer or it's like some other additional information, typically like white labeling, like whitelisting. But that's more common for like info-based businesses where you're going to be sending a lot of emails to people on a regular basis. You don't really need to do that if like all this business needs is like a 3 email welcome sequence that sells people on a particular service, and then that's it. Another thing that you can use a PS for in a welcome email is providing some other information like, PS, tomorrow we're actually going to send you an email with a list of the top 10 surf spots in Maryland. Make sure to keep an eye on your inbox. And if you want a coach to help you snag some... I feel like such a poser. I've never been surfing before, so I have no idea like how surfers actually talk, but I'm just like sort of riffing based on like what the stereotype in my head. Again, we're having fun here. If you want a coach to help you snag some radical air, gnarly wave, make sure to give us a call at... Okay, so we got another CTA here, plus also some like foreshadowing of what to expect. Give us a ring when you can. Check out our pricing and services on our website. Now, here's the thing. If this were a more direct response-y, like, you know, trying to sell info or things like that, trying to be like very optimized, you want to focus on just one CTA. Like, give people one piece of information, one thing that they can do, and only that. But my friends, this is for a surf instructor. We don't need to, it doesn't need to be the perfect welcome email. It just needs to be better than what they have, which let me remind you is 0 things. So calling is the only way to reach the business. I mean, that's the CTA that they have on their site. Call today, 443-203-WAVE. So there you go. Another thing too is like also you can have other CTAs and welcome emails, like, you know, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, like, you know, things like that. People go crazy with it, but, you know, I'm of the opinion that the fewer the better. And like, if you're going to welcome people, you might as well have like 5 emails in a row that introduce all that stuff one at a time. So, oh, Joe, look at that. P.S. No prior surf experience necessary. That's good copy. Well, good. Let's put it right here. No prior surf experience needed. If we can't get you up on your board and coasting on the waves, so this is an editing thing, but I've already used the if you here, let's control F if you call this, if anyone can do this, but if you just want. So I've already overused if as a clause. So I'm going to just pay attention to that, know that I've overused it. I'm going to change the subject, like the sentence accordingly so that I don't use it. Notice what I did just there. I noticed myself doing something that could be distracting and a little repetitive. And so I searched for it and then I changed it. That's how you make copy better. And it doesn't have to be if. It could be the word just. It could be sentence structures. It could be like overuse of the same ideas over and over again. Just be conscious of what you're doing, and you're going to write better copy. We'll get you up on your board and coasting along the waves, or your money back. So give us a ring when you can. Would ChatGPT be good to help us understand how surfers talk? Maybe. I'm not particularly interested. Like honestly, like how long did this take me? Like when did I first start writing this? Was it like 20 minutes ago? In the span of 20 minutes, I researched a business, I got into their funnel, I found a missing piece in their marketing strategy, and then I made that piece. I didn't need to open up ChatGPT for any of that. Like again, that's the whole point of like getting good and like practicing this stuff. I've written a lot of welcome emails. And guess what? Of all the ones that I've written, this is definitely one of them. So notice how I just allowed myself to have fun. I could go and improve this. I could go look up like other businesses and how they welcome people. I could probably like all of this copy right here. That's all introducing like the people, the actual coaches. I could shorten this. Like this can be shortened and like it will probably be better for it. And like make it less about the individual instructors and more about the business itself. But right now it's for a practice piece, it's fine. And like it's done. Like I can put this away now. I can put this away. And if I wanted to revise it and try to make it better, in 2 weeks, I could pull it out again and be like, all right, I did write that one welcome email for that one business. I wonder if there's anything that I can do to improve it. Then I'll look at it in 2 weeks and be like, oh man, like all this, like the cliche surfer talk is really cringy. And then I would change it. Again, that's how this process of getting better works, of practicing works. It's just being really kind to yourself, being really forgiving of yourself, being really playful, like being attentive and conscientious, but not so much that it forces you into analysis paralysis. If you do all of those things, you're going to write some kick-ass practice pieces. And guess what? After I revise this and make this better, like 2 or 3 times, and like I can't think of anything good, and like all the people critiquing it are like, yeah, it's good to go. It's a sample piece now. And again, the whole baked in, all like research, writing, framing, all of it took 20 minutes. It's a first draft. That's all I'm expecting you to do. That's all I'm asking you to do. When you write a first draft, when you write a practice piece, it does not need to be good. You don't need to get it critiqued either. Again, it's a practice piece. It never needs to see the light of day ever again. But you had to use your brain to actually get this done. And that's how you get better. You frowned at the puns. What are some other no-nos? So puns and other forms of like obvious rhetoric are the problem with them is that they draw attention to themselves. They're like, "Hey, look at me. I'm indulgent." And you don't want your copy to be indulgent. You don't want your copy unless it's like contextually like it makes sense for it to. You don't want it to like actually be like something that draws attention to itself. Rather, you want your copy to almost be just almost like a veil, like a gossamer veil that allows people to see beyond the copy to the things that they want. That's what I was trying to do here. Like, rather than just being like, we have one surfer instructor named Brian. We also have another surf instructor named Carlin. We have another one named Luke, and he is your man. No, I wove in their bios with the benefits that people potentially want. Did you know he caught the highest air ever according to Bodyboard Magazine? He can teach you how to fly off the waves too if you call and ask for lessons from him. How to fly off the waves too, like how to catch high air if that's what you want, that's the benefit. That's the desire. That's the outcome. Notice how I wove it all in without it being like obvious or hackneyed. So yeah. I mean, instruction for whitelisting. Yeah. So here, Google is your friend on this one. How to whitelist an email. So what you do is you look up whitelisting instructions, and then you get the instructions, and then you provide those instructions. HubSpot is a good source for that. There you go. How to whitelist an email. There you go. So again, any welcome email is always going to have a proliferation of CTAs because, like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of stuff that you need to do in a welcome email. You need to welcome people. You need to tell people what they signed up for. You need to tell people what they're signing up for. If they signed up on a squeeze page that had like some sort of downloadable thing, you typically provide a link to that thing in the welcome email. Like there's also typically an offer in the welcome email. Welcome emails are a lot. Like there's a blend of like sales, function, like marketing, all that. And so, yeah, basically the CTA rule, it's always better to just have one. And so sometimes what businesses will do is that, like, if there's like a downloadable link, the welcome email will say, "Hey, we're going to send you what you signed up for in just a few minutes. We just want to make sure that you get it. So whitelist this email, whitelist our email address first to make sure that you get the thing that you requested, the thing that you signed up for." That's a very common strategy for making sure that people whitelist your email. Happens all the time. Again, it doesn't really make sense for our surf instruction shop like welcome email because, again, like they're probably not going to be blasting people with like offers. If people don't sign up for the wave riding course, like surf shop course, within a few days, the actual drop off for surf instruction is going to be precipitous. It's going to be really, really fierce. For one, like people need to be in Ocean City. So like, and people only go to or live in Ocean City for like vacation. So if people like sign up for this email, you have a very small amount of time to get people to like call in and make like schedule an appointment. So that's why you would want some sort of like 3 to 5 day sequence and not more than that. So just stuff to keep in mind. And that, I think, gentlemen, ladies, everything in between, I think that was everything you need to know about how to practice copy. Like that was the full kit and caboodle. That was the whole bag of burritos. That was the mamma jamma. That was the thing. So, yeah, if you have more questions, I would be happy to answer them. Let's see. Next to being the best surfer and coach is to let people know we are the best. Yeah, absolutely. And notice how I did that in the welcome email. What if the surf school doesn't have or want to offer any offers? Would you have to form emails around no offers? Well, they do offer offers. They had an entire, let me show you. Share this tab. Pricing. This is their offer. These are all offers. So they have offers. If they don't want to offer a discount, you don't offer a discount. And if the client is unhappy with the discount you offered, you change the fucking copy. It really doesn't need to be much more complicated than that. All I did was just look at what they offer, and that's it. Easy peasy. And again, it's a practice piece. I'm not going to lose any sleep over making it perfect. Anything else, you guys? I'm happy to talk to you. That's what I'm here for. I'm literally, I make money from being cool and answering your questions. Thank you very much for watching this video. We, of course, have more videos and other masterclasses that you can use to help you get better at writing copy. You can hear my infant crying in the background. All right, my toddler is toddling, so forget having a clean outro. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful night.